Hi everyone. So this current upload is it's an update on the same topic. Um, envy. This one goes out to uh, this one is regarding a former friend of mine. So her name is Indira Bryan. As you can, that's her on the screen. Um, I met Indira when I was actually 15 years old. So, um, turns out one of my cousins were in a relationship with one of her older brother, and this is when we met for the first time. Then I met her a year later. When I was 16 years old, I moved to my dad's house, and she was dating my cousin Sheldon, and I met her through Sheldon. We became friends pretty quickly because she was dating my cousin. My cousin was also my neighbor, so like whenever I hang out with my cousin, she would always be around. So that's why me and her wind up hanging out all the time. And she's from her family's really nice actually, but they're like financially there wasn't like the best regarding financial structures. Being stable in general wasn't the best, but they were actually really nice people. um at 16 I used to go to like a lot of parties. So living at my dad's house, my dad did not live in his house obviously, so well, not obviously, but my dad wasn't living at his house. I was living there all by myself. I had a guardian that came by once a week, whom was my father's older brother. So basically, I basically lived alone all by myself at 16 years old. So I would go to a lot of parties with my cousins. I would be going to the clubs at 16 years old and etc. Because my cousin Sheldon, he was trying to be a rapper. He's still pursuing his music career, but back then we had this we had this group. So I was in a music group and also a dance group. So the name of the group of that, we call it Young Life, and then um I was actually in two music group. There were Color Squad and then Young Life. So Color Squad is something I created on my own, but that's for another uh topic. um so we would do shows, we would travel all over the country for to perform. People would hire us to perform at events, parties, funerals. Because funerals in Jamaica, it's not exactly like funerals in like other countries. We have something called the nine night, which is like a celebration. There's a lot of music, food. It's like a party. So they would invite us to come and perform. Sometimes we don't get paid because we took the publicity just to help put our name out there. Sometimes we get paid for it. Sometimes, as in, we'll take free events. We just wanted to put our name out there so people could see us and would want to hire us to perform at events. So we had like a we had like a pickup van that we would bring everyone in. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Most of my friends also, we had like, so just like how I had access to this a property all by myself, like most of my friends at my age, they also had access to properties that their parents own. So let's just say the party never stops, like never stops. And it was around this time me and Dira got close because she would come to my house because my cousin lived next door and she's his girlfriend, former girlfriend. She was his girlfriend at the time. They would come over to everyone would come to my house to get dressed, shower, and we all just leave because my house is way bigger compared to where her boyfriend lives. So everyone would just come to my house and everyone would just, get dressed and shower and we all just leave to the club and so forth. Which, Mandira got closer on this point because, like I explained, her family's financial background, it wasn't the best. So around this point, I started giving her makeovers. So she would look really nice. And I've always been kind of, I've always been into fashion. My mom was always very fashionable growing up. So, like, and I was also very fashionable myself. But where women fashion is concerned, my mother is a very fashionable woman. So I would emulate things my mother would wear on Indira to make her look really well. Anyways, my mom was a baddie. So we became closer at that point, and it was a lot of fun. We were always having fun. We were always partying, and back then, no one questioned me about my sexuality. My friends were pretty homo erotic when we were younger. Like everybody was a bit homoerotic. Like boy and boy would play around. They make jokes. Uh, they will be okay. We're getting a blowjob from a boy. All these type of things, and still identify as straight or they had a girlfriend or whatever. Anyways, but we were young and we had a lot of fun. It was me and Sheldon and his girlfriend was really close because he's my cousin and me and her got close as well. So you would see me and him a lot and her. And um him doing his music, like I used to also write music for him. So this is also why we were so super close. Given I had a boyfriend, my boyfriend was also in the group. So he would also be around. But so him and Dira would have a lot of time knowing each other. They will sleep in the same bed. So we were all super close. Me and his boyfriend will go, me and Dira's boyfriend, we will go out to get breakfast, or sometimes he will accompany me to, like, maybe the city so my dad would send money for me, like, and I would, like, use it to go party with my friends. I would make up something like, oh, Dad, I need money for, like, a science project. I need money for some curriculum activity. And he would wire me money, and then I'll go pick it up, and I will just use the party with my friends. So I was 16, don't judge me. So sometimes we will leave and we'll maybe get like stuff for the house, like snacks, because we're partying, nobody cooks. Sometimes we cook. So we'll probably, even if it's to go buy food, like fast food, I will come back and Dira and my boyfriend are snuggled up in bed. Nothing happened between them. I'm just sharing this to highlight just how close they were. Cause that's a build up for something. So we were all close. Sometimes it's the four of us. Most time it was the four of us. When my boyfriend was not around, it will be me, Dira, and my cousin Sheldon. Dira, Indira, same person. Her name is Indira, but we call her Dira for short. Yes. So basically, she, she and I were really, really close. She then, years went by, so 16, 17, almost 18 years old, she got pregnant by Sheldon. She had the baby. When the baby was born, Sheldon said the baby wasn't his. He disowned the baby. And I didn't abandon her. So this is my cousin. He said, okay, that's not my child. I don't want nothing to do with her. She cheated. That's not my baby. I don't want nothing to do with her and that baby. And I I was mad at my cousin. I didn't speak to him. I stood by her, and I actually named her daughter. And I'm her daughter's godfather. Well, at least not anymore, but I was. So her name is Sky. Mm. And well, so like every so when my cousin said, like, that ain't my baby, like everyone turned their backs on her. Like the whole town was making fun of her. She didn't really have a lot of friends because she was never a girl's girl. She was always with the boys. So with people saying this about her, like the girls, they never like her. Like I said, she's never been a girl's girl. She was always like most of her friends were always boys. So people were making fun of her that she's a hoe and all these shit. And well, I stood by her. I was her only friend. Like I used to come to her house every day to cheer her up, and she had postmortem depression because who wouldn't? And she was so depressed, she would cover all the mirrors in the house because she was so embarrassed to even look at her own reflection. She would cover all the mirrors in the house and she would keep the lights off in the house throughout this entire period because she was so depressed and she felt like she was ugly and a whole lot of stuff. And I will be there every day. I got her out of depression basically all by myself. And the first clothes that she got for her baby, it was for me. Like, because when she had her baby, she didn't have any financial support from my cousin. So, and she's broke and her family's broke. So I had to step in and get like everything for the baby, basically. And this is why I was given the title as the Godfather, apparently, which I took. I was like, okay, because in the end, the baby is technically my cousin as well. So, um, anyways, I then I moved when I was 18. I moved. We still kept in contact. We were still friends. We'll talk every day over the phone or once a week. Then it went from once a week to once a month. You know, people grew apart. I then I would visit my hometown. At this point, me and my first boyfriend broke up, but then I had another boyfriend, and I came out to her. Like she's always knew that me and my ex boyfriend were like, we never told them like we were dating, but they all knew because whenever we would fight, they would intervene and tell us things like we the both of us cannot be push, like for example, we had a fight. They like my ex would go to one of my cousins or Dira to try and talk to me, and like it was so interesting that we were still, it was like unsaid, it was unsaid from our lips that we were involved, but they knew, to the point that just like how things would play out, like how um just everything, just everything. Like I cannot specify. Okay, let me specify a moment. Like I remember once we had like a major fight, and I was like, okay, bro, don't talk to me anymore. And like he got my cousin, and they called me this little conversation, and I recall them saying like something like, oh, you both love each other too much, and in a relationship, you can't both be fire, because then everything will be burned down. Like these are the context of conversation we'll have with them. So, but when I came out, cause she always knew. She said she knew I was gay since I was 15 years old when she met me. She knew. So when I came out to her is when I had my second boyfriend. I brought him to my hometown and I introduced her to him and I told her that this is my boyfriend and I'm gay, and she was like, she knew. So, you know, that was that. And basically, you know, I would visit her from time to time whenever I'm in the hometown. She then relocated to Montego Bay in Jamaica, where I lived at the time. When she relocated to Montego Bay, we never actually hung out. We would just be on the phone talking all the time. So we live in the same city now, but I'm older. I have more responsibilities. I have my job. My life is so hectic. I have a very busy life. I have no time. Plus, I would go to the club like I went to the club every night. So I was still a party boy. So I would go to the club like every night. She, at this point, she had her daughter with her. So she couldn't come to the club. So, like, every time we will schedule like a little meetup, a little time to hang out, I'm always busy. That was pretty much my fault. And I wind up moving away from the country. So we live literally less than 20 minutes from each other at one point, and we still didn't see each other. Because I had a very busy, hectic life. And, because she's a mom, she's not going to places that I'm going. She's no longer going to the club. She's not no longer going here, there. She's doing mom stuff. I would schedule like a little play date with her and her daughter, my goddaughter, but I couldn't make it all the time because I had a very busy life. So basically, pretty much, I moved away from the country. So years went by, or a year, I think, or 2 years, something like that. I moved away from the country and we kept our friendship going just the same. We'll talk over the phone, all of that. And she met this really beautiful boy. They had more kids. She had a couple more kids with him. He was a really great guy. He held her down. Was a great father, etc. He's really attractive and all of that. So at this when she moved, like, I've always known she was bi-curious, because when we were younger, this is what I mean, like, all my friends were somewhat homoerotic, all the boys and all the girls. So even back then, she would say things like that, like she would kiss a girl, she would like to try making out with a girl. And I think we used to play spin the bottle, the game when you spin the bottle and you dare each other what to do. We used to play these games. So some of that did happen when we would play spin the bottle. But, like, sexuality for us was just, I don't know. Like, I knew I was gay, clearly. But we didn't really care, because if you would observe the way that me and my cousin hang out, people think he's my boyfriend. He holds my hand in public. He even gets jealous sometimes when certain boys talk to me. He's not getting jealous. Maybe that's not the best term. It's more like he's very protective and he doesn't want certain people to talk to me because he knows they don't mean any good. Once he put one of his ex-girlfriend in the hospital because she gave my number out to a boy who probably didn't mean any good. But, well, yeah, he definitely wouldn't have meant me any good. So he strangled her and she collapsed and wind up in the hospital, blacked out. So, you would think me and my cousin in a relationship. You would think me and probably some of my other friends are in a relationship. But that's just how we were. Growing up in Jamaica, this friendship that we all have, we like I said, everybody was a little bit homoerotic, and Dira was no, she was no exception to this. So she would want to make up with a girl. She would want to try kissing a girl. She would want to try like oral, with a girl. And when she moves to Montego Bay, she would like call me and she would be like, I want to meet a girl, and where can I meet gay girls? And I'm like, girl, you can just meet them online. Because really, I didn't really have a lot of friends that were lesbians, so I didn't know where lesbians meet. I only had 4 black lesbian friends in Jamaica at that point. So I wouldn't know where, like, my friends are also from like more higher economical backgrounds. So for them, their world is very well their world is very different compared to like the average lesbians. So there's that. Um, she maneuvered this on her own because I couldn't guide her with this chapter of her life because I don't have lesbian friends apart from my 4 lesbian friends at the time. So she maneuvered this on her own. When I moved away from the country, she would call me. She would tell me things. She met up with girls. She had her first little fling with a girl, and so she came out at this point as a bisexual. And her boyfriend knew. He would be with her. He would be with women and him at the same time. He would be in relationship with women whilst in a relationship with him, and it was fine with him. These relationship would go from like months, sometime weeks, but her boyfriend was fine with it, I guess, because he was into 2 girls being together in like intimate encounter. I guess he's into that, so he was fine with it. Oh, the most important thing. So growing up, before this entire thing, this new chapter in her life when she came out as bisexual, we used to talk about having kids and so forth. So when I came out as gay, I would be like, well, I'm going to have a surrogate. And she would be like, I'm going to be a surrogate. And I was like, oh, definitely, girl. You are definitely be my surrogate. Because she was one of my closest friends. So, like, we planned this whole thing. She was going to be my surrogate. And me and her and my boyfriend will talk about it. We'll plan stuff like when that day comes, when I'm at that point in life when I want to have my son, like, you're gonna be the surrogate. We're gonna go to the clinic. We're gonna get one of your eggs. Well, I really wasn't gonna get 2 of her. Well, not her eggs. Sorry, I was gonna. I didn't want her to have any genetical connection to the baby, which she also agreed. So we had planned for me to purchase 2 separate eggs from like other donors and fertilize them, and she would just carry the zygote, that is, the fertilized, the embryos basically. She would carry both the embryos, so I would have 2 sons, one biological for me, one biological for my boyfriend or husband, whatever he had been, because obviously I had planned to get married, but even some of my boyfriend that we didn't plan to get married, this was also what we planned, right? So like, so that was something we would always discuss ever since we were like young adults, teenagers, etc. And pretty much, um, you know, time went by, blah 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 blah, and I live in Europe at this point, and she's in Jamaica. She living her life, and well, we had like a fallout because I felt like she betrayed me with certain people. Like, she was discussing my personal life with people that I wouldn't want her to do so with. Also, her friends, they were a bit obnoxious, and they're like, "Oh, you have a cute gay boy as your friend. I have another gay friend," and they all want to do their little matchmaking. Mind you, Dira knows who I am. I don't do that crap. No, she knows that, and she would play this figure where she's like, persons are into me, and she would communicate with them as if I'm also into them, knowing that I'm not into them. I don't think she did it for financial means. I think she did it because she was friends with these people and wanted to keep them as her friend. But the thing is, like, if you're my friend, if I'm not into someone, why are you talking to them like I'm into them? Why are you telling them stuff about me, my likes, my dislikes? Why are you planning secret rendezvous with me and this person, knowing that I don't like them at all, and the only outcome is that I'm going to humiliate them, or probably worse? She knows who I am. She's known me since I was 15 years old. She has seen how I grew as a person. She knows my likes, my dislikes, what makes me uncomfortable. She knows all of that. So clearly, she could tell. She has seen every boy I've dated. Most of them, she has seen. Not every boyfriend she has met, but she has met most of them, especially when I was younger. From my first boyfriend, my second boyfriend, our she's met, and all my boyfriends that she met, they're all extremely attractive. She knows my type, so there is no way I would be attracted to whoever these people that she was talking to at this point at all. She knows that, by the way. Because, like, these are things we will talk about. Like, if I go to the club, I'm like, girl, you can't believe I run into this person. Oh my God, he is so bummy. He is so unattractive. She knows, you know? So it's like, when she started doing this, I'm like, I realized quickly that she became this person because she wants to keep the friendship she has discovered with these group of lesbian women. And I just felt, well, you traded your real friend for these people. And I just stopped talking to her. And I didn't talk to her for like a few years. And a lot changed in her life. Her boyfriend died in a car accident. That beautiful boy that, she had two more kids with. He died in a car accident. And then when he died, they built a house together, but the house was on the boy's family's land, so it was his family's property. So they took the house away from Indira, knowing she has two kids with their son. They took the house from her. Yep. She had to go back home to live with her mom, and struggling to raise now three kids without any support from their fathers, because her recent boyfriend died, and her ex, my cousin, he does not contribute to his daughter, because he still says it's not his child, but it is his child. So he looks exactly like her in every way. This is his baby. It's his child. So, pretty much, I heard about her baby daddy dying, so I reached out to her. I was like, hey. After a while, I got over it a little bit, so I reached out to her. I was like, hey, how are you? Blah, 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 blah. She started telling me like a lot of stuff, like all of her lesbian friends, they all abandoned her. They stopped talking to her. The reason why they stopped talking to her is in two parts, because she and I no longer spoke. So these unattractive men that they will talk, that they had as their friends, who like me, who I don't like, they couldn't use Dira anymore to try and create this imaginary world that me and them are going to be together. So they kind of drop her because of that. The other ones, they drop her because when her baby daddy died, she lost everything. She no longer had access to vehicles because it was her ex-boyfriend's car. His family took it back. She lost access to like disposable income. So when she was with him, he's like a go-getter. He's really hardworking, very determined. He earns everything and gives her so she could just be this lavish, beautiful person. But then when he died, there's no more money. So she can't go out anymore and pay for brunches and lunches. She can't bring the girls to go do their hair, and it's all on her. So all these lesbian people, they kind of drop her because they was only friends with her because of what they could get out of her, which she didn't realize that apparently, which is interesting. Anyway, so then that happened, and so she told me she was, when I reached out to her, she was now a maid. She was a maid. She's still a maid right now. When I reached out to her, she's a maid. And I was like, girl, how the hell did this happen? She was employed at like a few hotels, but she would tell me like the owners of the hotels would like try to like have sex with her. She told me a few instances. She was at the hotel and the owners of the hotel, but these were like I will call it motel more than hotel, but they were like small hotels and like family owned hotels, these little small hotels. She would get jobs there, and she'd tell like the owners they would like corner her into a room and try to come on, force themselves on her sexually, um asking her for hugs throughout the day. They want to hug her, and if she refused to hug them, like I'm not talking like a hug, like a friendly hug. She told me like they were squeezing her butt and grabbing her boobs and these type of things. And when she would refuse to, they would fire her the next day. Things like that. I told her to report it, but then her lesbian friends, they told her not to. And they basically told her, oh, it happened to all of us, girl, just get another job. Some friends. Anyway, so basically at this point, she was employed at a cruise ship as a maid. So she traveled all around the world cleaning people's toilet on a crew liner. And she told me like she was going through a lot. She told me like it's a lot of racism. Cause when she FaceTimed me and I'm like, girl, I don't like the way you look, cause she look a mess. Oh my gosh, she looks horrible. And I'm like, girl, I don't like the way you look, girl. What's going on here? She's like telling me she's experiencing nothing but racism. She's saying these people within her job, they are really, 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 really racist. And they treat her like crap. She told me like when she leaves the ship, she would tell me more details. So, we came up with a plan. I started telling her like, girl, I think you should just. At the time, I lived in Canada, so I was like, girl, I think you should just come to Canada. Like, I mean, you should just move to Canada. I'm here. You can stay with me. We'll sort your papers out. We'll sort everything. She asked about her kids. And I was like, girl, I'll get your kids here within 6 months of you being here. And that's a promise. So we sorted, we planned everything. She had like a special type of visa that allows her to travel through any country in the world. It's like because she works on the cruise ship, sometimes she has to fly to different countries to to get on the ship when it docks, right? So her visa allows her to travel through any country in the world, basically. So I was like, girl, you already have a visa, so come to Canada. Like, you can stay at my place. I bought so much shit for her. I bro, I wasted so much money preparing my house for her. So crazy. I wasted so much money to help her, and this whole time she couldn't even top up her phone with like data, or we use like in Jamaica we use like there is postpaid and prepaid, but most people use prepaid. So she couldn't even top up her phone prepaid to make a phone call without me doing it each month or a week or every 2 weeks or whenever her minutes run out. And you know, I never thought of it in any way because I'm thinking, oh, it's fine. I'm just helping her out and, trying to get her out of this. Because she's a single mom. She has 3 kids. She has no moral support. She has no financial support. It's just she and her 3 kids. When she leaves the country to clean toilets on a flippin' crew liner, she leaves her kids with her family, and her sister is. She told me instances of her sisters abusing her kids, like psychologically and physically and verbally. So I'm like, well, girl, you gotta like be with your kids. So I think moving to Canada is the best option for you because I'm here. Like, I just don't. And you're bisexual. So, but at this point, she mostly dated women because she told me she had like 3 girlfriends. She was seeing one boy who's from Honduras, but she had like 3 girlfriends at the same time. They all knew about each other, and pretty much, she was still cleaning toilets. Doesn't make much sense to me, but okay. So she did came to Canada though, and when she got to Canada, she then started to manipulate me against my first boyfriend. She started just talking a lot about, like, when she came to Canada. So he lives in Canada. So my first boyfriend lives in Canada currently. When Dira came to Canada, she flipped the script. So, she came to Canada, but we haven't seen each other. She's in like a whole nother province, halfway across the country, which I knew because what she did, she used the flight from her job to come to Canada. So instead of like using money to buy a ticket, she was like, "Oh, I'll just wait like a few months. Like, you know, the company has like, well, it's not really. They didn't really pay for the flight. No, it wasn't. They didn't pay for the flight. It's more like she has like a itinerary where she needs to go. So she's like, what if immigration asks me questions like, why am I in the country? I can show them this to say, oh, this is my job, and I have to go on this ship here and there. So I was like, oh, that is actually a great idea, because sometimes immigration, they do ask questions. So they didn't buy the ticket. No, I think they reimbursed you the ticket after you fly, which is crazy. But anyways, so I helped her with everything, and she came, and she was supposed to leave the province. Mm, she was in, where was she again? When she came to Canada, the ship was to dock at Prince Edward Island. So she was supposed to go to Prince Edward Island. But when she arrived in Canada, the crew line changed their itinerary. They decided to go to Rupert Island instead of Prince Edward Island. So she started calling me and started like flipping the scripts immediately once the ship announced that they're changing course to go to Rupert Island instead of Prince Edward Island. She started to say a lot of mean things about my ex. She just started to accuse him of the worst things, and I'm like, Badira, this is him. Like, why are you and him sleep in the same bed, girl? What is this? And she's like, oh, I don't know. I don't want to talk about that person. And he's this and he's that, like just everything to manipulate me. And at the end of the day, she has to think about her kids. And I'm like, girl, I don't understand, how does your kids fit into anything with him? Because it doesn't make any sense to me. And she's like, oh, I gotta think about my kids and my kids. And I said, girl, and you're here and you're gonna take your kids up in 6 months. I promise you. Like, I'll get the paperwork's done. They'll be here in 6 months or less. And she's like, you know, and she never came to my house. No, she never came to my. I wasted all my money. I would reach out to her like even after saying all these things about my first boyfriend, the love of my life. I would reach out to her like, cause I'm thinking, when she comes here to the house, we'll talk. I will get to understand like what is her issue, why is she saying these things, is she being manipulated by people? Mm. So like we'll talk. This is my friend since I was 15 years old. This is somebody I could just go to her house and lay on her stomach and cry about boys. So like we'll talk. She did not come to my house. She did not come to meet me. Every time I tried to meet up with her, she came up with excuses. And then she contacted me like after like a few weeks and told me she don't think she wants to live in Canada. And I was like, girl, why? And she was like, she can't be away from her kids for 6 months. I'm like, but girl, you're in a ship for more than 6 months at a time away from your kids. And she's like, well, yes, but I'm just not ready. I'm not ready to be away. She keeps you the ready to be away from my kids and this and that. And I was like, girl, you make me waste so much money. And she's like, I'm sorry, but I'm just not ready. And I kind of had enough because I was already kind of pissed off with her trying to manipulate me against my first boyfriend. I was already kind of pissed off, but because she's my friend for so many years, I was like, we'll talk it out. So I was just like, girl, whatever. I hung up my phone. She then got back on a flight, went back home to Jamaica. She then went back home, and I'm furious. And after like a week or two, I contacted her. I was like, girl, you made me waste so much money. What the hell happened? Why would you do this? She's like, she's at home now with her kids. She's broke as hell because all the money she earned on that like job on that cruise line, she had to use it to pay bills that she owed back in Jamaica, that she borrowed money from people to survive until she can go on her next little job to clean freaking toilets. So she was basically broke. All the money she earned, she had to use it to pay bills as soon as she came back to Jamaica. And we talked, and then she's asking me for like financial help. I told her no. I told her you got to be kidding me. I told her no. I told her to go. Because also, that 2 weeks that I was mad when she went back to Jamaica, I then went on her social media. Because all this time I didn't look on her social media. While she was in Canada, I wasn't looking on her social media. So now I just went on and I saw her out having fun with a lot of African people. Oh, yes. And I'm like, where does she know these people from? And people from like Jamaica, but they're from like the town that my family comes from. It's called St. Elizabeth. Eh. She's with people from this town, a lot of African people. And I'm like, in my mind, this is why I called her, because I wanted, like, where the hell do you know these people from? And I didn't get to ask her, like, how she knew them, because, like, asking me for financial, like, help that just kind of pissed me off. So, because I'm like, you made me waste all my money, and you came to Canada, I didn't even see you, and you went back, you made the decision to go back to Jamaica. Now you want me to help you financially? Okay, no, girl, you're insane. You're insane. And so that happened, and I was like, okay, girl, and I blocked her again. And well, Why I blocked her is because, like, around this point, like, I've been experiencing, like, a lot of crazy stuff with, like, women. Everyone wants to throw their overs in my face, which is insane. Um, I know that it has something to do with this boy I dated briefly in 2023 because he wanted us to have a kid and I did not want to have a kid because I felt like financially I was not in the position to have a kid, and he is definitely not in a financial situation to have a kid because I took care of him financially for 8 months. So he could not be in the financial situation to have a kid. But I would tell him, like, I don't want to have a kid because, first and foremost, my son is not going to public school, and he will cry. He asked me to marry him, and I told him no because I felt like he was too broke to marry, and he is too broke to marry. So basically, like, he would always be pushing this whole having a baby thing. I was like, so one time I asked him, like, how are you planning to have a baby? He's like, oh, we'll get a girl and sleep with her. I'm like, I'm not laying with no woman. Are you insane? Look, I'm pure gay. Pure, very, very gay. I wouldn't lay with a woman for uh, reproducing means. No. And I told him, like, look, this is what I'm doing. I'm doing a surrogacy and all of this. And he's like, oh, but that costs money. I'm like, exactly, money that you don't have. So this is why we can't have a kid. But mind you, while with him, he would always have a lot of these girls lining up, which I can't understand for some reason why they're all lining up to be impregnated by gay men. But after a while, I realized they want money. Yes, because if they have a baby with my stupid ex, they're gonna have a check for 18 years. So it was all about money. Yeah. Anyways, so that's how Indira, because we will talk about that since we were kids, she started to come back around with this whole thing and blah de blah de blah. And I just want to say this because I know you're gonna watch this, Indira. But girl, I wouldn't even allow. You couldn't even be the lady that sweeps the streets that my son walks down on, much less his surrogate mother. When I do decide to have him, you couldn't even be the lady that sweeps the flipping street that he crosses. You couldn't even be that. this 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 chick is crazy. So um so she's a little bit of, I'm gonna say, a stalker. She has become like that because she's friends with a lot of these weird people now. So she's now pretending as if I've blocked her. I haven't spoken to her in quite some time. She keeps pretending like we're cool, we're still friends, and she's gonna be my surrogate. She is insane, completely insane. So I have no contact with her, and I remove myself from the whole equation of me being her daughter's godfather. Yeah, I remove myself from that equation because I don't want nothing to do with her daughter because I want nothing to do with her. And she's crazy. So now after a while I realized that all that manipulation that she was doing, it was because of these unattractive men that are insecure because of my first boyfriend. He's really beautiful and they're really insecure. Like, he drives them crazy. The mere fact they cannot match, like, I've dated this person since I was like 16 to 18 years old, and we broke up since when I was 18 years old, and to this day men that are pursuing me are threatened by the memory of him, which it makes sense because I don't want them. I don't want any of these men. No, they know that. No, and they think he is the reason why I don't want them. I guess because, like, Indira probably told him things that I used my first relationship as a compass. It's how I knew what love was. So if you cannot match up to that, I just don't want you. Besides, these people that are obsessing, they're unattractive. So you couldn't even make the cut, girl. You're really, really, really ugly. You couldn't make the cut at all. So I don't see why they even bother. So they were trying to poison my mind against him so they could, I guess, crawl into my life, love me. Well, I won't love you. You're very unattractive, and you're broke, and you're a bum, and you're emotionally and psychologically abusive, and your entire family is crazy, or you're an old shrivel up man that nobody wants. Definitely not me. Ew. So she did that, and we don't talk anymore. But is she envious? I don't think in nature she is. She's been my friend since we were kids. I never saw that. But what I think is going on here that she has changed. She's no longer the person I knew, and she's just her friends are envious for sure. And I think it's the same thing like before. She's trying to appease these group of lesbian people, and she sold me out, and then her boyfriend died and they all abandoned her. I think it's the same thing that's going on right now. But I'm not sticking around. I decided not to stick around to find out. Girl, I don't care, and I'm not ever gonna be friends with her ever again. No, we're never gonna be cool ever again. I'm never gonna forgive her. Especially because, you did this once and I forgave you, and you came back around and did it a second time. And now you're out here on conference call with crazy people pretending that me and you're cool, then I like them, and me and them are gonna be together and you're gonna be our surrogate. Like, what in the hell? This is so insane. People that I don't even know, people I don't want to know, people that I will never find attractive. Ever. This is insane. Anyways, so basically that's Indira, everyone. And my cousin doesn't even see the child, their daughter. No, my cousin came to Jamaica. You know what my cousin did? So Indira lives close to where we used to hang out as a group. We used to have this chill spot close to Indira's house. My cousin drove his car there and like me and my first boyfriend and all our friends will hang out there all the time. We, the boys, will all hang out there. My cousin drove his car and hang out right there. And it's like literally right around the corner from Indira's house. And he hung out there with all of our friends. My first boyfriend was in Canada, so he wasn't there. And didn't even go see his daughter who lives around the corner. And she called me and she was crying like, oh my God, I can't believe he did this. He hasn't seen her in so many years, and he came to Jamaica and he parked his car. He was hanging out there for the whole day till the late nights, and he didn't even come to see her. And she cried for the whole day. She's 13 years old now, and she understands everything. And look, my cousin is very petty, and I'm going to tell you why my cousin did that. My cousin did that because Indira started to manipulate me against my first boyfriend, and my cousin is pissed. My cousin is very spiteful, and that's why he did that. Do I blame him? Well, that is your daughter, so I don't think that was really nice, but I can understand why he did it, because we all grew up together, we were all friends, we all have a bond, and for you to sell us out for these weird people that abandon you every time you're down financially, well, I can understand why he did that. So, that's Indira, everybody. She chose the bum life, cleaning toilets with losers. That's what she chose. Try my best to do everything, but that's the life she wants. To clean toilets. But anyway, and as I told you, she told me she's experiencing nothing but racism from these people. She told me it's like she told me it's like racism you would read about in school, like in textbook, like medieval stuff. And I believe her because I could see some of the nuance to this racism she's experiencing under these new people that she's associating herself with, who are all from either racist background or countries that are predominantly anti-black in a sense, and she is dark skinned, as you can see, and they treat her like she's crap, which is insane that she's still friends with these people. But I think well, clearly she doesn't love herself, so this is why she accepts this environment. She's also in the closet, so there's that again. Oh yeah, she when she started hanging out with these people, she ran back into the closet. Yep. And so there, another part of it that she is trying to drag me in the closet with these people. She told me, she called me once and she was crying, saying that, oh, she just want to be happy again. She just want things to be like it was when we were younger. And I do get that. When we were young, we had a lot of fun. We saw each other a lot. We were all happy. But girl, we were kids. And yes, we were all in the closet. But girl, we were kids. We had no responsibilities. My daddy's money is what paid for the clubs. I am no longer a child. I'm 33 years old. So, like, look, and the whole closet thing, we were kids. I'm openly gay. I'm happily openly gay. No, I don't want to go back in the closet. No, I do not miss days. We might have been happy, but I went through some dark stuff all by myself that you don't even know with the closeted world I was in. But I was happy when I was around y'all because y'all were my friends. But still, sometimes that wasn't enough, and you don't know because I never told you. But she is equating her happiness to that time in her life when we were all together and happy. And yes, we were all in the closet. But that was just because we were young. We're no longer young, girl. We're all adults with responsibilities in life. And I wouldn't want to go back in the closet because what am I doing in the closet at 33 years old? What fun is there for a 33-year-old man in the closet? There is none. Anyways, so basically, she's just immature. She's immature, and I think some of these people that she's hanging out with, some of them are young. I know some of them are young, but that's the thing. They might be teenagers. Girl, you're not a teenager. I'm not a teenager. She's older than me, like about 2 years, we think, or a year. You're not a teenager, girl. And some of them are adults and they act like teenagers. That's why their life is the way that it is. Basic and bummy. That's why whenever you get your paycheck, you have to pay for the drinks because they can't pick up the tab because they're all broke. Because they're living like they're a teenager. So they don't want to get like a serious job. They hop from job every little freelance gig so they can be around young people. I don't know. I can't stand younger people sometimes. I don't even know how they do it. I can't stand them. So, but I've always been like that. I've always been very mature for my age. Even when I was a teenager, like most of my gay friends were like older than me. So like I couldn't relate to like people my age. Even she and her boyfriend were older than me. And most of our friends. Me and my boyfriend was the youngest in the group. We both were the youngest. And that is because we didn't feel connected to people our own age because they were kids, they were childish, they were mature. So she wants this little, and she tells these people about the fun time we used to have, and I guess they're excited because I guess they were not doing the things that we were doing. But girl, I'm 33 years old, and no, I do not want to play spin the bottle with a grown ass man that I'm not attracted to. I would not do that. You notice, like, even when we were younger and we were playing spin the bottle, everyone in the house is attractive. Everyone in our friendship group was attractive for a reason. Anyways, so, um, that's Indira trying to drag me back in the closet with her hope of and you have kids. Like, what the hell? This is so crazy. She's just really immature. She needs to grow up and stop being a stalker. Yeah. So I don't think she's envious. I think it's the people around her. But she plays a role in this entire catalog. She does. Particularly the friendship that she makes. Anyways, I'm gonna wrap things up here, and I'll probably mention her in some other upload because she does play other roles in other pieces of this puzzle. But this is my this is me signing out